Hey guys, welcome to Troy Time. Hey, check it out. It is cold. All right, it's freezing out there. And that prompted me to address this topic today. We're going to talk about the best way to stay warm, okay? I made a video last winter, and I'll link to it here. It's a good video. You should watch it. And I talked in comprehensive detail about the different ways to stay warm. If you have power, if you don't have power, lots of different details. That one's a little bit more comprehensive. I'm going to make two real quick videos. I'm trying to get them out while the temps are cold so y'all can take advantage of it. First one's going to be the best way to stay warm if you've got a little bit of power. By that, I mean maybe you have a solar generator, maybe you have a battery and an inverter that you could charge up with your car, or perhaps with a gas generator, okay? But I'm going to tell you the best way that there is, in my mind, to stay warm overnight, all right? Okay, so when we looked at our video last year, what we determined that the best thing going, if you've got a little bit of power, is this guy right here, okay? This is a Reptile heater, actually, and he's 7 watts, okay? He actually says 7 watts, but on full, he's going to use 14 watts, all right? So this little guy is amazing. He's actually pretty sophisticated. It's a carbon felt filament that warms all through it, okay? There was a lot of reasons why we expressed that this guy was the best guy to get, okay? If you're talking about staying warm in your bed overnight, I much prefer this, even to like a Mr. Buddy that uses propane or something like that. This is going to use renewable power, either from a solar panel, a solar generator, or you can run your car, or you can run a gas generator, charge up a battery, and then use this in your bed overnight. You really don't want to be using those propane heaters overnight. They're dangerous, right? This guy's going to keep you snug as a bug, okay? So, there's been an improvement over the last year, okay? What I noticed, even on the video last year, I said, which you should check out, I actually said, you know, if you really wanted to be like a king, you could have 2 of these and you would be so toasty, okay? We talked about using 7 watts, all right? And so 8 hours of heat with this guy is only going to be 56 watts. We talked about using it kind of on full blast for the first couple minutes to get the bed warm, and then putting it down to 7 watts and using only 60 watts to keep you warm in your bed at night. I've said that across several of my videos. I'm telling you, 60 watts can keep you warm in your bed at night, toasty warm in your bed at night, okay? All night long, all 8 hours that you're in that bed, you can be toasty warm, okay? And this is what we said was the best thing going for many different reasons that we outlined in that video. So I'm not going to rehash all of it. But just like I said, even in that video, you might want to get 2 of them just because then you'd be just overwhelmingly living like a king with that much heat, right? But what I noticed is that company makes an actual 14 watt heater just like this. So let's take a peek at that. Okay guys, so the same companies, it's made by a lot of different companies on the net, if you look and see, they make a 14 watt heater, which essentially is just 2 of these guys, right? And it's awesome, okay? Now, this was just a huge upgrade, okay? Let me tell you why. So, this one's 14 watts. When you turn it all the way up, it's gonna go to about 28 watts, all right? 14 watts is where it's at its halfway point. So this thing can heat up the bed quick. Man, this one heats up the bed, but it takes it 5 minutes. If it's super cold, it may take it 8 minutes, something like that. This guy, 1 or 2 minutes, your bed is toasty warm, okay? We talked about making a microclimate. We talked about having a nice cover, right? We talked about making sure you have a nice blanket. We talked about tucking it in around the shoulders, trapping all the air and making everything nice and toasty. Now, what I like about this one as opposed to the 7 watt one is that I'm still going to use the same amount of power, okay? I'm still going to use 7 watts. But what we talked about on this one is this does get pretty hot at 7 watts, okay? So think of 7 watts as how much thermal energy you want to radiate into your body to stay warm when the bed is cold. And this one can do that, but it's all concentrated in one area. So what we talked about is putting it on your chest and doing sort of like the Egyptian kind of sarcophagus kind of thing like that, or even just stacking a pillow on top when you've got a blanket on top and tucked in real nice. And so that's great, but it's going to get real hot right here, okay? And so we talked about you could move it down to your feet and then move it back up to your chest and stuff, and you can turn it down to a little bit smaller, like a 3 or 4 after the bed is warmed up, right? But it does get rather hot along that surface. So the ideal thing about this one is that there's twice as much surface area. So I'm still recommending using 7 watts throughout the night, but now it's twice as much surface area, and it is perfect. So it's not going to, overly heat your skin or possibly burn your skin at that low 7 watts across this much surface area. So you've got twice as much surface area or twice as big of a portal to get that thermal energy in. And this fits just right, like right on your chest, which is right where you want it. So you want to put it right on your chest, okay? And then usually I'll lay in bed like this, which is awesome, right? And again, a pillow on top. You can put a pillow on top and then put your arms and give it a big hug. And if you're a side sleeper, you can still stick this in your armpit and it works just fine. You can even stick it in your armpit with a pillow on top as well. Mainly just trapping that heat. And again, these are pretty sophisticated, okay? The main thing I want to say about this is this isn't a radiating heater. This doesn't radiate heat. So you can have your hand literally an inch away and you're not going to feel any heat. But if you touch the surface, it's hot. So it's conductive heater. So you have to be in physical contact with it. Okay, so it's not going to heat all the space in your bed without heating something. And you want that something to be you. So you want it to be in contact with you. So if I put it this far away from me in the bed, I'm not going to feel any benefit from it. It has to touch me, and then through conductivity, you can go through a shirt or something like that, but through conductive heat, it's going to just make your whole body toasty. And this is the perfect size. It's like a breastplate. It's just perfect. So you lay in the bed, usually I'll have it like this, and again, man, it's just going to make you so toasty warm all through the night, and with such little power, right? We talk about 60 watts when you're running either one of these, right? 60 watts to keep you warm in bed. So if you have a small solar generator, like 300 watts, man, that is, if you were just running one of these, that's 4 nights. It can keep you warm in your bed for 4 nights with a small little 300 watt generator, okay? So that's awesome. Or if you have a spouse or significant other, 2 people in their bed for 2 nights, right? 8 hours a night. So this is just a great way to go. It uses super low amount of power, okay? The reason that it's better than, I have a thermal blanket, I have a Sunbeam. These use such little power compared to those. Those things are up in the 50s, 60s amount of watts, even more. Thermal blankets are up in 180, 200, okay? So I'm going to tell you the 3 main reasons that this is far superior to something like a heating blanket or a heating pad, okay? So the first is price, all right? So heating blankets are going to run you, what, $60, something like this? Even like a Sunbeam thermal blanket's going to be like 20, 25. These are $9 each, okay? You can get a 2-pack of these online, 2 of these, for $18, right? So $9. Awesome, right? So price is the first one. You can get these for a much lower price. So price is number 1. Number 2, they use far less energy. You're going to be able to stay at 7 watts. It's going to just be a continuous warmth in just perfect places and keep you toasty warm, okay? So it uses far less energy. And number 3, it's actually rather sophisticated. What you have here is a thermal regulator that actually has infinite settings, okay? So it's a dial, right? I have other heating pads like a Sunbeam and many that I show in the other video. But what those have usually is a high, middle, and low setting. But that's really just an average. So what they do is they are always bursting at 1 heat setting, full blast. And then they control how much heat comes out by cycling it, like a duty cycle. So it'll be on for a minute, and then off for 2 minutes, and then on for a minute, or off for 2 minutes, or something like that. And that's how they control whether it's on. If on high, it's constantly on. On medium, it may cycle 1 minute on, 1 minute off. And on low, it may be 1 minute on, 2 minutes off, okay? But that's really irritating when you've got it under the covers and you're using it as a heating source for the whole bed. It's very irritating. What happens is you get, you're cold, and then you get too hot, and then you get just right for a moment, and then it's too cold. And so it cycles. There's very little time that you're spending in that good zone. Most of the time with those, when they're cycling, you're either too hot or too cold, okay? So that's why we don't like it. This one, this is a constant temperature, and it actually goes a constant temperature across different heat settings. So if you wanted it at 3 watts, it's just going to stay and put out 3 watts. If you wanted it at 5, you turn the dial at 5. If you wanted it at 9, you turn the dial to 9. So let's say your solar generator is way drained, right? And you've only got 35 watts left. So now with this, you can adjust it and you can say, okay, well, I've got 8 hours, so let's put it on 4 watts. Because over 8 hours, 4 watts, that's going to be 32 watts, okay? And so that way you can adjust it to whatever power you have left as well. So it uses very low power, it's very low cost, it's adjustable to any setting that you want, and it's just a super awesome way to go, okay? I've tested it, it's awesome. These are awesome too. It's not like these are bad now. These are awesome too. But this, it's just, ooh, man, it's a good way to go. Get this 2-pack. I recommend you get this 2-pack on Amazon for $18. I'll leave a link to it. And what you're going to see online when you go look at these is that they make a 20 watt. So I said, hey, let's give it a shot and see if the 20 watt's better. So I got the 20 watt, right? Which is this huge thing right here, okay? Here's the 14 up against it. Here's the 7. So I thought this might be awesome, right? But let me tell you, this is not the way to go, okay? The reason is this. For one, it's so big, it's uncomfortable. It's like a plate. It's like a pallet, you know, it's too big for one. It's more difficult to maneuver and it's not comfortable like the other one. That's the first point. Secondly, This thing actually uses quite a dang bit of power. This is getting up to like what the blankets and the other heating pads use. When it's full blast, it uses about 50 watts, okay? When it's halfway, this one goes down to about 20, 22, all right? But here's the problem. This one, because it's so big, it doesn't get really warm at all until you get up over 20 watts. So to get the 20 watt panel to feel warm, like the 14 watt panel does at 7 watts, this one has to be already in the beginning up to 20 watts, okay? And not even that, probably more like 28 before it feels like this one. Now it is dispersed wider, but you just don't get that same warm, cozy feeling. So there's no reason to use that extra wattage. And there's also no reason ever for this to go up to that 50 watts. Remember, these are reptile heaters. So if something like this is meant to heat a huge aquarium full of water, right? So it's just too much, it's overkill. This is not the way you want to go. It's uncomfortable, it uses too many watts, right? So right straight in there, it's kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, right? One's too hot, one's too cold, one's just right. This one's just right, okay? 14 watts, baby. You can get 2 of these on Amazon for $18.99. It's a great way to go. If you've got a little bit of power when power goes out, if you can get some, say, off of your car or off of a generator, solar generator, or off of a gas generator, fill up a battery during the day, and then at nighttime you don't have to run your gas generator because you can get by with these in your bed. So this is a great way to go. They're inexpensive. You should get one for every member of your family. I highly, highly encourage that. These are awesome. Definitely have these on hand. If you had to go a month without power, let's say there was an incident or something, there's a lot of stuff in the news. I'm not going to get down the line, but if there was an incident where you had to go a month without power during the winter times, like it is cold tonight and this week, having one of these is going to keep you toasty warm in that bed, okay? Awesome, awesome way to go. So that's what I highly recommend you pick up. If you don't believe me fully, which you should believe me, get one and try it yourself. And after you try it, you'll be like, hell yeah, I'm getting one for every member of my family, okay? So highly recommend you pick one up. They're inexpensive. 2-pack, $18 on Amazon. Links in the description. Go back and check out that video if you want more specifics on some of the other things I recommend. Next in this series, we'll have another update as far as improving what was last year the best way to keep warm without power. So we're going to tweak that one and give it a little hack to make that one even better as well. So stay tuned if you're into that kind of thing. So I've got a ton of videos coming up across all spectrums of the different categories we cover. So there's a lot of stuff coming, guys. It's cold out there, guys. There's no reason to be cold in your bed. One of these reptile heaters makes it a night and day difference. It makes it awesome. That 14 watt one's the way to go. So check it out, get one. Let me know if you get one. You should get one. Check it out, you're gonna like it. This is Troy Time. We'll see you soon. There's more videos coming. Like and subscribe. I'm out.